holiday schemes. Now, this is one thing that I know a lot of people are stuck in. I don't think they do it as much these days, but we were invited to this thing where they were talking about investing, and they were like, oh, it's a really great opportunity, la-di-da. Got there. And, we were being lathered with all these, cakes and teas and being treated like a king. And I'm always immediately suspicious if I feel like I'm being treated, extra, well, for a reason that I don't know. My guards immediately go up, unless it's like a charity or something where people are just supposed to be nice to you. So we were treated like kings and ushered into one room and then the next room. You would think, well, why did you even go if you weren't entirely sure what the reason was? Well, the way they sold it to us was, it's an opportunity to actually, if you attend the workshop, you get a free holiday voucher to these locations, and they actually listed the locations. Wonderful, really nice looking holiday locations. And on top of that, they offered like £100 Amazon voucher. So Neil and I were like, well, why not, right? Worst case, we get a nice £100 voucher out of it at the end. We've got nothing that we're doing that particular day. So we went into it, and to cut a long story short, essentially what they were trying to do was to sell us a timeshare. Now, if you don't know what a timeshare is, it's essentially where you pay money towards owning a percentage of a holiday home. And what it means is that, for certain times during the year, you can actually go and stay in these holiday homes for free, but then you have to pay for the maintenance and upkeep of the place. It's essentially for people who go on holiday a lot, and you're kind of investing into a holiday home as well as something that other people can use, and you're supposed to sort of be able to earn money from that as well. So it's almost sold as like an investment option and a holiday option at the same time. Now, there's many things about this that I did not like. One of the key things was that, number one, they weren't upfront about what they're selling. Now, I always think, and I'm always highly suspicious of people who are selling something and are never upfront about exactly what they're selling from the beginning to let you choose. Because what that says to me is that they are slowly trying to ease you into something that you might initially, if they had just told you, say no to. And there's a reason why you'd probably say no to it, because your common sense will tell you, actually, that's not for me. So they would probably use psychological tools and methods to kind of open your mind up slowly to whatever that final offer is. And I am not a fan of that. And, for me, it was also, the process was a very hard sell, but over a period of time, and we were kept there, and eventually you got the full picture and you were passed on from one person to the other. I think the only reason why we stayed is because we got our £100 voucher in the end. But because I've been in situations like that before, I had my guard up. And when they finally hit us with the final sell, so are you interested? It'll only cost you this amount a month. And, it could have been something that we could have probably easily afforded as a monthly payment. However, I knew where we wanted to be financially, where we wanted to be putting our money towards financially, and what our priorities were as a family. And paying money into a so-called investment for holidays is not in my grand scheme of financial plans. But my concern with such things is that often if you don't go in knowing that that's what you're going to get, you could very likely end up signing up to something that you cannot get out of very easily. And, there's a lot of people who are in timeshare schemes who cannot get out. All you need to do is Google, getting out of a timeshare, and you will see how many people are struggling to get out, to sell their portion of the investment. And they're locked into costs and fees and all kinds of things that they didn't anticipate, So it's a massive red flag. If anyone ever tries to sell you a timeshare or, a percentage into a holiday scheme, or offer you a free holiday or whatever it is, I would be very, very cautious. Do your due diligence. Find out your exit strategy. Always know exactly how you can get out before ever signing to the dotted line, and never be put into a situation where you have to make a decision on the day. That was one of the key things that they said to us is, well, if you don't decide today, unfortunately, the offer of this lesser amount is going to go away and you're going to have to pay a lot more. I was like, it's fine, I could deal with that. Then it's not for me, because you never want to be put into a position where you're pressured to make a decision when you are not ready to make that decision. Better to let that opportunity go by. There will be others. I promise you, there will be others. Don't ever feel pressured to kind of make financial decisions on someone else's timescale. Okay, so that is the last one of the 5, and then there's the bonus one about people who are interested in investing in property. You get in the UK, I don't know if you get it in a lot of other places in the world, where people try and sell you courses about investing in property. Now, there is some value in a lot of these courses, and a lot of what they teach often is true, but very similar to the timeshare. I would just say, before you go into these courses, research online people who have been frauded or have lost money going to these courses, because then you go in with an equipped mindset. And I do still think there is value. I've been to, some of these courses, free property training. I invest in property, and so I'm always looking to learn and that sort of thing. But I learn from many different places. I learn from some of these trainings. I learn from online. I learn from reading. I learn from practice. But one big danger with a lot of these that I am concerned about, particularly for people who might be doing it for the first time, is that you'll get there, they'll teach you all of these fantastic things, talk about all the great opportunities you can get from investing in property, talk about all the amazing things that they've done, which is all well and good, right? And give you some tools. But then at the end, 9 times out of 10, there is an upsell where they will say to you, right, this was free, but if you want to learn more, for £500, you can get on to, learn the details of how to get into it and la-di-da. And you might sign up to that. And then at the end of that, there'll be another upsell. And I went to one. I could not believe the amount of the upsell at the end of the course. It was, brace yourself for this, £15,000. £15,000 they were charging just to get the in on some information they were selling. And they were like, oh, you get opportunities to be in some of the deals that we sell, and they do this over an entire weekend. And so by the time they get to that sell, you would have really been hyped. Your mentality's ready. You're like, yeah, I'm a go-getter. I can do this, and people were signing up to it. People were taking credit cards, spending their good money to sign up to these courses. £15,000. That wasn't even for actually investing in a property. That was just for more training. Now, I understand some people pay that amount of money to go to university, and if you genuinely think that you're going to get the value that you need out of that course, then fair enough, and that you'll be able to take the action, then fair enough. I'm not kicking all of the courses. Some of them are very genuine and do actually give you the value, but for me at that point in time, I was like, if I got 15 grand to spend on a course, I could use that 15 grand to actually invest somewhere, and the lessons that I'll learn through that process and through reading, could probably, stand me in much better stead than just giving you my 15 grand to learn a bit more. Now, I do appreciate that different people learn in different ways, and some people do actually need someone to hold their hand and take them through the process. And I think it really depends on where you are in your financial journey and with your finances. If you're someone who actually has a lot of money, you don't know what to do with it, and £15,000 doesn't mean anything to you, then by all means, that's probably quite useful, because on that course, they should, if they are delivering what they promise, hold your hand through a process, and you still have money that you can use to actually then invest and implement what you're being taught. What I would find concerning is if number one, you don't have that 15 grand and you're having to borrow money to pay for that. Number two, what is the point if you're learning stuff that you can't implement because you haven't got any more money because you spent it all paying for this course? By the time you eventually save up enough money to start investing, what they taught you might be out of date. So I would just say be cautious. There is value out there to learn from different people in different places, but always evaluate where you are, what you're trying to achieve, and the best possible, most efficient way to get there. So I think that kind of summarizes the points that I have for you today. I hope you found that useful and there was just some information there that you could make use of. And if there are any other kind of points that you want to make, add it in the comment section below, and I would be happy to read them. That's it for me today, and I shall see you on my next episode. Goodbye.